Your task might not be a physical object or a physical task. It might be a political issue. It might be a psychological, a concept, a way of thinking. Anything that you're really interested in and really passionate about. What we want you to do is take our analogy, and even though it's a physical thing, use it at that different level. What we're asking you is to take that task and to look at it from a vast number of ways, as many ways as you can, you know, possibly hundreds of ways. Okay, a chair can be a visual thing. We can have it because it looks beautiful. Mm-hmm. Or a chair could also be something that's really comfortable. Mm. Or we could look at what's it like to be the chair. We're going to look at that a little bit later. Mm. How can we make an analogy with what's it like to be a chair? We can have perhaps a picture of a chair. Perhaps you at home or your grandma or somebody has got a picture of Van Gogh's chair, the fantastic little chair with the straw seat and the beautiful paint marks and things in it like that. There's a wonderful Klaus Oldenburg chair in the National Gallery in Canberra, which has got a big sign on it that says "Do not touch," and you sort of underneath it's got a little explanation that don't touch it because the acids and oils from your fingers will make the chair deteriorate. And so here we've got a chair that's designed not to be sat in, not even to be touched, and it's kind of all skewed and beautiful angles, and it's quite a beautiful thing, but it's obviously not a chair to be sat in. So when does it not become a chair if it's not to be sat in? And yet it's making, again, that kind of analogy.
Or chairs can be used as status symbols, or they might be seen as objects of desire in some way.
Well, they can even, can't they? They can show the status of a person.
Absolutely.
Like a judge's chair or a throne.
And in some cases, the comfort factor might be quite a secondary consideration in terms of why you would purchase this chair.
Might be designed to keep you awake.
It might be designed to keep you awake. It might be designed to put you to sleep.
Okay. And we can see that also if we look at the language of how a chair is used in language. We've got chairman. We've got by the seat of your pants. We've got
the seat of power.
The seat of power. You sit in Parliament. You stand for Parliament, you lie to get there, and then you sit in Parliament.
So you can see how the term can be used in lots of different ways to express all sorts of different things, and you can maybe then think about your task and how you can look at this in similar ways.
So you could look at it from some of the things, you could look at it physically, what's involved physically, you could look at it how it's involved politically or socially or psychologically.
Or emotionally.
Symbolically, in language, a whole range of different things. You can look at, begin to look at some of the idea generation ways, look at the opposite of those things. So we're beginning to pull it apart. And one of the things that we've got to make very sure that we don't do is take it for granted in the way that possibly something that's ubiquitous as a chair, that's as common as a chair, doesn't just get taken for granted. You don't just go in and sit on it without thinking about it anymore. So that's exactly what you've got to do with your task, whatever it is that you've chosen, whatever you're interested in and passionate about. You've got to make sure that you don't take it for granted, that you've got to question all the time your assumptions about that.
So in your task, you need to think about labelling the terms that we use to describe the task or the object or whatever, and maybe think of other ways of looking at that, other terminology, other words that might describe what it is that you're interested in.
So you've really got to push yourself in this task, in whatever your task is. You've really got to push it and look at it as many different ways as possible. When you've asked as many questions as you can about your task, as we're asking about the chair, ask somebody else about it, particularly collaboratively. Go and talk to people that you know.